NEWS.MC on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is Aude Berlin. I'm the co-founder of One Lifestyle and of Luxury Professionals of Monaco. I am born and raised in Monaco, but I've been traveling a lot and living abroad for the past 15 years between mostly Dubai in the Middle East and Geneva. And I recently came back to Monaco about 4 years ago. I went to school in Monaco. I did public sector. I did École de la Condamine, Collège Charles III, Lycée Albert Ier. And then I did prep school, class prépa HEC. After that, I studied in a business school in Lille, and I ended up my studies in Canada. Following that, I started my career in Geneva in a big company called Procter & Gamble, that is a leader in consumer goods industry. And I used to work in the luxury segment of Procter & Gamble, managing the licensed fragrances for the company. I spent more than 10 years in big corporation. This is where I learned the way of working, really. American corporations teach you entrepreneurship differently. When you work for big companies with big brands that are market leaders, you have a constant mission to always, lead the way, and that comes as well with a mindset of always improving, getting through the clutter. In the brands I used to work for, I used to manage Gucci fragrances, Dolce & Gabbana fragrances. You are facing 2,000 fragrance launch a year. And the idea is, how can you remain one of the market leader? How can you keep on innovating? Because that's your role as a market leader as well. And it's always about how can you think differently, whether it's business model, whether it's strategy, whether it's distribution model. And that really brings a lot of learning when it comes to entrepreneur spirit. Not only the way you manage your business, but the way you manage your career as well. I left Dubai after 7 years in the Middle East. When I came back to Monaco about 4 years ago, I created 2 companies. So One Lifestyle is a Monaco-based company. The mission that we have is to challenge the luxury travel industry. Today, the client is not so much interested into going to a destination, but into the experience that he's going to live. So what we do at One Lifestyle is we curate bespoke, money can't buy experience, I want to say, in the sense that we give access to the clients to some ultra confidential addresses. So a few example is the access that we have to some of the ateliers of a very high-end luxury Parisian brand in Paris. We are able also to commercialize the Orient Express. There's a big passion today for slow travel. And again, it's not so much about the destination, but it's about the journey. Those days, it's fall right now, so it's white truffle season. So we work in the Piedmont region where we organize the full truffle hunts. We do Barolo tasting, we do a refined lunch around the white truffle with a private chef, which is the chef of the Ferrero family, and the clients stay then in an old monastery from the 17th century. So what we're creating is very much about creating authentic experience that are rooted in the season and that are storytelling, because this is what our clients are looking for. Finding more depth into the travel, whether it's purpose-driven, whether it's cultural-driven, or whether it's health-driven. That's the type of experiences that we craft. So I am also the co-founder of Luxury Professionals of Monaco, together with my husband, which today is the biggest B2B network that gathers the professional working in the luxury sector in Monaco. We have about 90 members that are part of our network, only professionals across about 50 different industries, being retail, being art, being wines and spirit, hospitality, restaurants, yachts, insurance and banking, for example. And the idea when we came back to Monaco a couple of years ago was really to see how we could bring all these professionals and create an ecosystem of professionals together to help each other, to support each other, to drive synergies and collaborations among us, and to keep on serving the clients in Monaco. So this is our mission. I think it's very interesting how luxury is evolving in the sense that you do have those big groups such as LVMH that, keeps on acquiring new brands, but the way that luxury industry is evolving is very different. The new generation of luxury clients don't consume so much goods, but they consume more services. So it's not so much about what you own, but what you live. Not so much about what you buy, but what you experience. What those luxury groups, they understand is that they need to find a new way to acquire their clients. 2019, LVMH acquired Belmont Group, that is a major actors in hospitality, that has hotels, luxury trains such as the Orient Express and boats. And that's, a statement to say that, those luxury brands, they want to create ecosystems because they understand very well that the new generation will be willing to consume differently. Same with Abercrombie & Kent, based here. Abercrombie & Kent acquired Crystal Cruise, so they keep on expanding from, adventure on land to cruise and keeping exploring throughout the sea. For us, as new small actors on wine lifestyle, that gives us the chance to see how we can work with them. I'm working with Belmont Group, I'm working with LVMH Group. My positioning on wine lifestyle is very much about creating those exceptional experience and this collection of moments to the clients. So it's rooted in that desire for the new luxury, for the new generation. It used to be very much in silo. You're in fashion, you're in hospitality. Today, it doesn't work like this anymore. It's very much about that whole lifestyle that you create around the client at the centerpiece. It's funny how, we get back to the fundamentals. For me, security, health, and education, which is, on the Maslow pyramid, really the fundamentals that everyone should entitled to have worldwide, is becoming like wealth today. And people are ready to pay a lot of money to live here, to have access to what should be fundamentals of freedom, for any population. So this is the way I explain it, is today, unfortunately, you don't have many places in the world that can offer security, health, and education. And I lived in two other places that can offer that, being Switzerland and Dubai, which were also great for that. But this is how I explain, for me, the biggest wealth of Monaco is those three pillars. And also the lifestyle, I have to say. I'm a professional, I'm a mom, I'm very active. I don't have a lot of time in my life. And to me, living here is great added value because I can optimize my life. It's 2 kilometers square. I can have 10 meetings in a day, pick up my kid in the middle, bring him to the doctor, have another meeting, go out on the evening, and voila, all in a day, thanks to the small size of the Principality. Health is the new wealth, and today the generation of clients are looking to invest into longevity, and it's really a shift of investment and focus. And it's very much purpose-led travels. You do have a lot of clinics in Switzerland or outside in Europe. It's not so much something that we focus on today, but it's something that we will be putting in place in the future. I guess in Monaco, a lot of institutions and professionals work towards attractivity. We all, in what we do, take a part in attractivity in Monaco. We have the MEB, that is part of Luxury Professionals of Monaco, that is a member of our network, and that supports us in prioritizing some of the projects or putting us in contact with the right people to integrate in that network. And this is really how we work together. But today we are a B2B network, so it's mostly professionals. It's not so much about an institution, but rather gathering this network of professionals and enabling each other to improve and drive synergies. Of course, when you say you come from Monaco, it always comes with a lot of stereotypes. And I think that we are all in our way ambassadors of Monaco. And it's our responsibility when we are from here to also communicate the real people, what is really happening beyond the stereotypes. And that has been, how I saw myself, communicating about where I'm from with my friends and my peers abroad. It's really about breaking the stereotypes. It's not only about, money and the bling and the glamorous. People do work here. People have various professions. You have school, you have great education, you have great health system, you have a real life here. It's not only a touristic place where you pass by and you have the Monaco Grand Prix. I think that's the role that I see myself having when I work and I travel abroad, is mainly to break through the stereotypes, because a lot of people have never been, and even if you've been, it's only what you see on the surface. We do a lot, and this is what I love about here. Taking myself personally, I grew up here, I have all of my childhood friends from here that I still have today, and this is the amazing feeling of we're all cousins here, we're all part of the same big family. We also have a big circle of international people that are either professional contacts or friends. And I think it's amazing to be able to mingle between all the different circles, that everyone cohabits together, everyone is living in the same beautiful place. And I think this is an amazing thing to be capable of doing that at our levels and to educate our children the same way. You know, a lot of people say like Monaco is a bubble. Yes, it's small and we're very protected, and it's important to see what's happening outside. But the strength that we have is that we have a mini world inside of Monaco with different social classes, with different professions, with different nationalities. And for my kids now growing up here, it's a great strength and a great wealth for them to be able to mingle with very different profiles of people too, both from culture, from nationality, from way of living. And I think this is a great way to open your mind as well. Monaco is an interesting market because it's a small market, of course, it's a small country, but it's a highly strategic one for brands and companies. It's a flagship market, it's an image market. You do have a lot of international events taking place here that are attracting a lot of people in a couple of days, which is quite unique and an interesting profile of people. Think the Grand Prix de Monaco, the Rolex Masters, or the Yacht Show, for example, being three of the main events in Monaco. So for brands, it's about, I guess, how can you connect with your audience during those events? So it's not so much about, I would say, a big market for brands to play, but a strategic market for brands to invest during those events. And I see it like that. Then in terms of image, obviously Monaco is recognized worldwide as a place that is highly attractive for ultra high net worth individuals. There's almost 40% of them living here, which is one of the most important percentage of ultra high net worth individuals in the world living in a country. And that population comes as well with expectations. And that raised the bar for us as luxury actors to see how we can improve, which is great to challenge us about, how can we constantly step up our game in the service we offer, in what we offer, how can we add value to a population that has lived in many different places, has been able to compare different cities and countries, and that ends up in Monaco, whether it's through travel or whether it's through residence. It's up to us now as luxury actors to improve and step up our game, yes. You always have that perception growing up here and then leaving and coming back, you see it from a fresh eye. And I think this is really interesting. I think Monaco has evolved. In today's context, Monaco is very attractive for security, for the lifestyle. People really value that above a lot of other things. Compared to my childhood, I see it much more international. You have today, and this is a great chance that we have living here, of having the lifestyle of a big city with the security, the support system of a village. And this is a big strength. I think that for all of us that have traveled abroad and that are coming back home here, we see the chance that we have to be able to come back here. I lived in many different countries, and at the end of the day, I think we are happy here, and it's a great place to be. But there's still a lot of things to improve, and I'm always thinking about, it's interesting how you have the local Monegasque, and you have the people that work here, and you have this international population as well that Monaco is serving. And it's really about the balance between the different populations as well. I still think that there's a lot we can do to improve, the needs and the requests. And this is also with One Lifestyle what we are trying to do.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching NEWS.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, NEWS.MC and MonacoInfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.